Bienvenidos a todos. El día de hoy, como siempre, tenemos una gran entrevista. Y bueno, pues ya saben que todo esto me pone muy feliz. Para mí es muy emocionante poder traer todas estas entrevistas para todos ustedes. Así que gracias a los que se están conectando y esperemos que mucha más gente se vaya conectando para unírsenos y escuchar esta increíble entrevista de una de las leyendas del patinaje. No sé ustedes, pero yo cuando estuve en mis inicios en el patinaje, yo crecí viendo a este gran patinador, así que para mí es un orgullo y súper emocionante tenerlo el día de hoy aquí en Cafecito con Masha. Por favor, no olviden suscribirse a este canal y seguirme en mis redes sociales, porque ahí estaré publicando información de las próximas entrevistas que tendremos. Recuerden que además de todas las entrevistas que tengo de deportes invernales, también tengo esta nueva sección de Rumbo a Tokio para todos los que les gusta el deporte de verano. Y bueno, pues estaré presentándoles atletas que calificaron o están por clasificar para los Juegos Olímpicos de Tokio. Así que bueno, pues viene mucho contenido, muchas cosas increíbles en este canal. Y también quiero recordarles que al final de la entrevista le estaré leyendo a nuestro invitado 5 preguntas o comentarios que sean hechos a través del super chat, sin importar el monto del donativo. Y gracias a todos esos increíbles donativos que todos ustedes hacen, es que puedo traerles este contenido tan increíble. Así que bueno, pues gracias a todos por estar aquí. Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. I'm super excited. I don't know about you, but when I started skating, I admire this skater so much. I mean, I grew up watching him compete. And for me, it's an honor to have him in Cafecito con Masha. I'm truly excited about this interview. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done it. And please follow me on my social media. I will be posting about the interviews I will be having, not just figure skating interviews, but also I will be having interviews for Tokyo Olympics. I will be having athletes who have qualified or about to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics. So don't forget to follow me and see what interviews I will be having. And remember that at the end of the interview, I will be reading to our guest 5 comments or questions made through the super chat. It doesn't matter the amount of the donation. Thank you very much for your donations because of that, I can bring amazing content to all of you. So I don't want to keep you waiting. I want to introduce our guest for today. We have the amazing Kurt Browning. How are you, Kurt? Welcome to Cafecito con Masha.
Awesome, bienvenido. Thank you.
I am truly, truly excited about having you here finally. It took a while to find you. A friend of mine, a Mexican friend that I think you know, Rodrigo Menendez, gave me your contact, and finally I could find you. And I'm so happy to finally have you here for this amazing interview, and everybody's thrilled. So
I've been right here waiting for you, just waiting and waiting.
I know you were waiting, but well, I'm here. So let's do this and let's have fun.
And I must say right off the top, I am so impressed with you and all sponsors and medals on the wall behind you and how professional you are. It's fantastic. I'm really excited to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your comments. And this has been a very difficult year. I mean, since last year, 2020, it was a crazy year for the world. It was crazy everywhere. I mean, not only because of the people getting sick and awful things happening, but also in the sports. It was so hard for the athletes, with competitions canceled and nobody can make plans. So how was 2020 for you?
Kind of awful. It kind of was.
Yeah.
On a personal level, it's frustrating to be ready to even go to work, and away, and the work keeps going away. Seminar goes, that opportunity goes away, and I'm fine, but there's so many people out there that are not fine. They're kind of living from paycheck to paycheck, and this has been an awful year, and so on a personal level, like we've had trouble with within the family that people have passed away that we knew, that we loved, in our own family as well. Even our dog passed away. 2020 has been hard
Yeah.
on everybody. I don't care who you are. And a lot of us love skating so much that when that gets taken away, we don't know how big a part of us it was until it's gone.
Yeah.
And on that note, I've always kind of taken summer off, and I can take 6, 8, 12 weeks off of the ice and be fine. But I always get to go back. This time I haven't really been able to go back as much. And
No.
at my age, I wonder, maybe that's it. Maybe COVID is why I don't skate anymore. So it's been a hard year. It really has.
Yeah, hopefully 2021 will get better little by little now with the vaccine and all. Hopefully, because I mean, it's like we're stuck. We can't make plans. We don't know what's going to happen. And it's been crazy. I mean, I have been locked down since March. I was supposed to go to the World Championships and I had my flight for, I believe it was March 16, and like a couple of days before they announced that people should be in lockdown, so I had to cancel my flight, and since then I have been home and it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's been hard in the beginning. When we all thought it was going to be weeks, maybe months.
Mm,
Um, I was doing very many situations like this where I'm sitting and I'm talking to 25 kids or 100 kids and trying to motivate them. And don't worry, soon it'll be, but we'll be back on the ice, and having discussions, lots of Zoom chats and FaceTimes and
mm,
things like that. I noticed after about 6 or 8 months,
I know.
those kind of went away. And I started one day. I thought, is that because people have given up? And I hope it's because some people were getting back on the ice slowly.
Yeah.
But this has been longer than anybody thought.
Oh
And I
yeah.
and I, thinking lots about the 12, the 10, 14-year-old, but also about people who were like you, had this big plan to go to the Worlds and
Yeah.
compete, or the Olympics and compete
Mm,
in the Summer Games. And I can't imagine having the apple in front of the donkey,
yeah.
getting the donkey to move, and the apple keeps moving, and the donkey keeps going. As people, we keep wondering, why does the apple move? And it's not easy. Not easy to stay motivated as a competitive athlete.
No, it's not. I mean, I sometimes I think about the guys who were supposed to compete at the World Championship, and it's so sad. But like I said, hopefully this year will be better for everyone, for the whole world, for the sports. I mean, let's cross fingers and let's see what happens. So
And the world will be in Montreal, Canada. So Canada
I
lost a world
know,
championship.
I know that's so sad. I hope that
Yeah.
no more competitions get canceled. I mean, now there's the next World Championships. Hopefully, they won't get canceled. Let's see.
Yeah, let's see.
Let's see. Yeah, fingers crossed. So I want to start from the beginning, and I want to know what's
That's
your
more of
story.
it's more of a
Way back to the beginning. Why did you start skating? I mean, how did you get into that? I know in Canada people play hockey, but you ended up
Yes.
in figure skating. So why? What's your story?
Quick story is in my hometown, very small. Well, I grew up in the country, but there was a little town 5 miles away, and that town got an arena with a roof over top
Mhm.
of the ice. We had, but there was no roof. And then the town paid, and wow, we have an arena. So all of a sudden there was hockey and there was figure skating, and I was 7 or 8 years old when that happened. And so that's why. So my mother put me in figure skating so that I could skate more. Because in hockey, you had one practice, and then on Saturday you had one game, and you spent most of that
That's
game on the
all.
bench. Thought, how is this kid going to learn how to skate? So she put me in figure skating, and there was a boy named Marvin Trimble who was 4 or 5 years older than me, and he knew all the dances, and he had figure skates,
Mm,
and he was a long distance runner, and I really looked up to him. And I sometimes think I probably would not have had a figure skating career if it wasn't for Marvin Trimble, because he taught us the dances. I got figure skates, and my dad said we should go to the pond to try it. And I said, I already know how to skate. I don't need to do that. And he said, no, I think we should try these. And I went to the pond and hit my toe pick and fell. But for some reason, I quit. I think I liked it because it was fun. I liked jumping, and I liked the friendships and the freedom. And some relationship was formed by the time I was 11, and I am still a skater about 110 years later. It's awesome.
110 years old. Well, yeah, you look younger, kind of.
Well, I was fishing for that compliment, so thank you.
Okay, so I want to say something. Now we live in a quads world, but back then that wasn't the case. So you were the first guy, the first male skater to ever land a quad toe in a competition. And I want to know what motivated you to do that? I mean, to even try the jump, because nobody did it. I mean, I know some guys were trying it, but why did you
Yes.
start trying it?
Well, I was trying it because I saw Brian Boitano do it, and I think we're watching Alexander Fadeva try one. This guy, Joseph Sobopchik, he was the first guy to do it, and that jump you just saw, he landed on 2 feet, but they decided not to count it. And there's Brian Boitano. He had a 2-foot landing. Like, there was many amazing guys in the world that were doing quad, and I saw in person Brian Boitano land one at a practice session, and that made me go home and try it. And I think that seeing Brian Boitano do it, and he landed it perfect, and he motivated me to go home and try it. To be honest, I didn't try it in front of anybody. I literally waited until everybody left the rink, and then I
Oh my
went back
God.
in lights and tried it by myself because I didn't want anyone to laugh at me, in front of me.
So how long did it
And
take you to land it?
Sorry, go ahead.
How long did it take you to land the jump?
Honestly, just days, just a I don't know. I just kind of did it.
Oh my God.
I had a beautiful triple toe back then, and so somehow to add the extra revolution when I was very small and skinny and strong and fast wasn't that hard for me. Really about the working hard for it. It was just about having Brian Orser and definitely Joseph Sobopchik, who I think in a way owns the quad more than anybody from my generation. So I always think it maybe should have been Joseph. So I try to share with him as much as I can the honor. But these guys showed me the quad. They showed it to me, and then I went home and tried it. And one day I showed my coach. I said, I have something new to show you, and I did the quad. And he didn't even make a face. Michael Uranek was my coach, and he was always very calm. And I remember he just looked at me and went, And he goes, I don't think we're going to do triple axel anymore. We're just going to concentrate on this. Because my triple axel wasn't. And so we did. We took triple axel away. We stopped working on it, and we only worked on quad. And the rest is literally
History. So it was a little bit after your first world championship. After you tried it in Calgary '88, but didn't land it correctly, and then you tried it in your second world championships in Budapest.
Correct.
It was the same year, right? In '88. So you finally landed it.
In '88, my coach he said to me, if you're having a good program, you can go ahead and try it. Like literally at the Olympic Games, he said, if it's going well, go ahead and try it. So later on in the program, I threw the quad, and then in between the Olympic Games in '88 and the World Championships in '88, I think that was the Olympics maybe trial.
Yeah.
I was approached by a fellow who told me that if I landed the quad, he could get me a free car. So when you look at that young man right there, you're thinking that guy needs a car. You know, like he's 21 years old. He's got to get around. He needs a car. Girls like a car. So I told my coach, I said, if I can land the quad, I'll get a car. So let's move it to the first jump in the program. And he said, well, you better not miss it. Sets up everything. So I said, no, I need this car. I'll do it. So that was my motivation. I needed a car. This guy said he'd give me one, so I did the jump.
I remember that when you tried it in Calgary, it wasn't your first jump. It was maybe the fifth or I don't know, something like that. It was almost at the end of the program.
Yeah, because it wasn't really planned. I'd never even trained it.
Oh my
It was
God.
just really just like if you feel good, go for it, and it almost worked.
So, what
And
does it
the
mean to you to have to have been the first guy to ever land it in a competition?
oh, it meant parties. Like we had parties and um and it just kind of when I was very young, like in like 10 or 11 years old, my friends and I would get the Guinness World Book of Records in the library and open it up and go through all the Guinness World Book of Records because it was really fun to look at all the things that people had done.
Yeah,
And we were all wondering how to get in that book. Like,
yeah.
do we collect a string or do we hold our breath or what do we do? And then weirdly, I did this one jump and then all of a sudden I'm in the Guinness World Book of Records. So it was really fun and an honor to have that happen to me.
Well,
But
people,
actually, to be honest, it
yeah,
really helped me competitively. But next year, the judges really took me seriously. They kind of opened their eyes to me and gave me attention because I was the kid that landed the quad, and it helped me. Uh, it helped me a lot, and I knew that I had an opportunity after landing this quad to try to follow it up with some mature programs, and I won the world championship the next year. So it really that second in time helped me immensely in my whole life.
yes, of course, I can totally imagine that. And okay, talking about the Olympics. So you were in Calgary '88. I want
Yeah.
to know how was your first Olympic experience? I mean, of course, we know you were in three Olympics, but how did you feel the
Yeah.
first time
Well,
you ever went you ever went to the Olympics? How was that feeling for you?
I'll tell you that the Olympic Games were only a couple of hours from the house that I grew up in. So when I
Wow.
went to the Olympics,
Yeah,
I got in my
you kind of
car
walked.
and I drove a couple of hours and then I was at the Olympics and I got out of the car in the parking lot of the university where the athletes were staying. And I remember standing there thinking, oh, this is weird. Like now I'm at like that's it. Um, so it was very weird to have the Olympics be in a city that I like. It was in the city that I landed my first double axel in,
Yeah.
at summer camp. It was home. But it was a big adventure and it was a lot of fun. And I had great skates at the Olympics in '88, and I partied a lot. It was just there was no pressure. And back then we did figures. So in 1988, you competed in figures, which was, of course, the tracing on the clean ice,
Hmm.
the figures that you. And you and I were talking before the interview started about the picture behind me, and
Yeah,
those are my actual skates. Those aren't my figure skates. Those are my figure skates.
yeah, figure.
So there's no, and they're built differently, and I used those for about a decade, and I competed at the Worlds and the Olympics in those skates. So it's a lot of fun for me to see them on the wall in this nice photograph and to see the bottom because I'm usually seeing the toes from the top. So it's really fun for me to see them from the bottom. The next Olympics, a completely different story. I was world champion going into those Olympics, but my back, I had slipped 2 discs and I was not
Oh,
prepared. 6 weeks before the Olympics, I couldn't drive my truck because I couldn't push
oh
the
my
pedals.
God.
It was very bad. And then, so I had no confidence. And even though the jump in the short program on TV I watched, and I was like, it was a good jump. But I didn't have the heart and I didn't have the brain and I didn't have the repetition to land it and I let it fall. So it bothers me that my best chance to be an Olympic champion was taken from me. But then I had another chance 2 years later because the Olympics in the summer and the winter started like going one and then the other, not
Mhm.
the same in the same. So instead of waiting 4 years, I only had to wait two. And I was again world champion going into the Olympics. But I just made mistakes in the warm up of the short program and I lost my confidence and I lost my edge and then I lost the title. So it's interesting that I could win 4 world titles and I was one of the most dominant skaters of my time.
Yeah,
I didn't even medal. I didn't even bronze, didn't even get bronze. So the highest I placed was fifth, and I think
fifth.
that was a
Yeah,
bit of a
that was in
maybe even a
Lillehammer,
gift.
right? The fifth place.
Yes, it was. Yeah. So it's been an interesting relationship with the Olympic Games because the bad was not being able to bring a medal home for my country. That was the worst feeling. Because even as a little kid, I loved thinking that maybe if I went to the Olympics, I would bring a medal home for my country. And that felt awful to let so many people down. It really, really felt awful, more than letting myself down.
Yeah.
And but the good thing was, I think it made me really hungry as a professional figure skater.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when I turned professional, I was surrounded by Olympic champions. It was like you could swing. The saying you could swing a dead cat and hit 3 Olympic champions. They were everywhere. I was always skating with Christy Yamaguchi and Katarina Witt and Oksana Bayul and Scott Hamilton and
Mm-hmm.
Brian Boitano and all these Olympic champions. Victor, and I felt I needed to bring everything I had to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
So I was invited to the party, but I worked really, really hard because I didn't have an Olympic medal to
Mm-hmm.
stay at the party. And I think I'm a better skater.
Yeah, I remember that when Lillehammer happened, you were one of the favorites for a medal, even for the gold, because of your world championships, and they even named you the flag bearer for the opening ceremony. So, was that like a
That
special thing for you?
it's so bittersweet, which means that it's a beautiful moment, but it has sadness attached to it. In Albertville in 1992, they offered me the flag to carry, and I said I can't because my back is so bad. I don't know what carrying the flag, and I don't know all the extra responsibilities. And also, I knew the chances of me not skating well were so high. I thought I don't deserve the right. So I actually was the first athlete to ever turn down the flag,
Oh my
and
God.
I said no. So I had to say no because I knew the chances of me hurting my back or making it tired. Or I just was so fragile that I couldn't do it. And then 2 years later, they asked me to do it again, which I certainly didn't expect. Um, and so of course I said yes. And the moment itself was so beautiful. I have pictures on the wall I could show you of me being that young man in front of your country, like Brian Orser did for Canada in
Yeah.
1988. And I never dreamed, in my wildest dreams, that they would pick another figure skater, let alone me, to do it. But then following that up with a skate that didn't produce a medal, it's really a good story, but it's hard to be the person in the story.
I know, I know.
So yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard.
And did you think of going to Nagano '98 or not?
Ha! No. No, I never did. No, because I actually retired before '94. Not too many people know this, but I actually retired. I won the 1993 World Championships in Prague, and literally that night I said I'm done. There's this amazing skater named Elvis Stoyo. He's
Yeah.
going to take Canada to the top. I have been wanting to turn pro. I know that's where my future lies. I
Mm-hmm.
want to perform. I was ready. I was ready to do that. And so I told my parents, and I told my skating federation, and I told my agent, and then I went public. Almost went public, sorry. And then my agent came months later and he talked me into competing. So a part of me sometimes, when you're thinking about your past, I think I didn't go to those last Olympics completely committed because I had literally retired.
Yeah.
Uh, and so it's something that plays on my heart sometimes. As
Yeah.
we get older, we think too much.
You get
Uh,
nostalgic.
you get nostalgic and you start wondering what if, and it's kind of unusual to think back at my abilities back then and my records or the things that happened to me as a young skater and like how did I not get a medal at the Olympics? It's just wild. But it's what happened and it's what made me who I am.
Yeah,
And
it's
I think
life.
it taught me a lot. It's life. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. So by that moment in Lillehammer, you had already won your 4 world titles. So I was wondering what made more impact in your life, the world championships, I mean the world titles, or the Olympics in general?
The world titles. I don't even know what you're going to say after that, but it must be the world titles. But I cut you off. What was the second option?
Yeah, it was the Olympics in general.
Oh, definitely the world titles because um, that feeling of being able to go out on the ice and share the ice with the best skaters from around the planet and even fit in. Like,
Yeah.
winning is like amazing, but I always told myself when I was a young man, I don't want to be left out of the party. I want to be invited to the party. I want to be in the last flight and I want a chance to win. And if I don't win, it's because somebody's better than me.
Yeah.
I hated giving competitions. I liked fighting and really making whoever won earn it.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was exciting. Darn 2 foot, silly boy. Anyways, I just noticed I 2-footed that triple flip. But
Yeah, I noticed too.
yeah, it's obvious. But that was really fun to go back to the world as the world champion and try to do it again. And I was top 2 in the world 5 years in a row. And I have to tell you that it was such a crazy time because also figure skating was huge back then.
Oh yeah.
And if you were a skating star, you were famous. Like you were famous, not just in figure skating, but kind of around the world. And that's how big skating was.
Oh
And
yeah.
so, an incredibly exciting time.
Actually, when I started skating, I remember that I was watching your TV program. I don't know exactly what it was, the Singing on the Rain uh, show you did, but it was like on a set on the ice. Oh my
Oh,
God, I think I watched that like 1,000 times. I used to watch that before
wow.
going to competitions because that inspired me. It was so amazing.
What a wonderful opportunity.
I
There's Louis
know.
Stone, my coach at the time. It was called, you must remember this, we did 2 big TV specials, and I was just so lucky that, like I mentioned earlier, skating was so big back then that
Yeah.
I was handed this opportunity to explore
Yeah.
skating with money behind me, with the big cameras, with a crew of 50 people, with $2.5 million to spend on a show.
Yeah.
The great budget, great imagination. I was surrounded by talented people,
Yes.
and we just had fun. We just had so much fun. And I explored my world as a young man growing up in the country in Alberta and Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and horses and the way my father and my mother gave me. And that was sort of number one TV
Yeah.
special. And I always wanted to be a clown in the rodeo. So in that TV special, I actually did it as a clown, but I had no idea at the time that I was going to continue clowning almost my whole career. Like I just fell in love being silly and making people laugh, and the challenge, the actual scary, spooky of trying to actually stand there and make people laugh. I think it's. I met the Queen of England and I did the clown number for her, and she actually said it's infinitely more difficult to amuse than simply to entertain.
Oh yeah, I totally
And I
agree.
thought, I agree with you, Queen. I really do. I thought that's an interesting.
Wow, that's
So
amazing.
that TV. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean,
It was because she was a very cool lady. And then, so the first TV special kind of showed the audience who I was when I was younger, and it introduced me to TV special was more sophisticated,
yeah.
and it was more along the lines of Singing in the Rain,
Mm-hmm.
and there was some acting and Yamaguchi and great friends, Michael Slipchuk. We had great friends, Norm Proft. Like some of my best friends were skating in that TV special. Christine Huff and Doug Ledre. We just
Mm-hmm.
had oh fun pretending we were movie stars on ice.
Was it
I
the
can't
same
tell
TV
you how great it
show
was.
where they had this like gangster movie thing? Was it the same one?
Yeah.
It was so
Yes.
good.
Yes. Yeah.
I think I have it recorded on VHS. I might.
Yeah. I think it's also been carved in stone. It's so old. But Sand I have to say that name. Sandra Bezic is a choreographer who I've worked with.
Yeah.
Since I was about 17 until now I'm 54 or something. And so, I mean, we've been working together for a long time, and I give her so much credit for making such good choices about how to tell those stories and how to bring them to life. So really cool stuff. That TV special was pretty cool. Probably one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, there's nothing like that anymore. Too bad.
Unfortunately, it's just too expensive.
Yeah.
It's not too many people. Back then, Brian Orser, Liz Manley, Brian Botano. Brian Botano skated on a glacier with a helicopter filming him. Yeah, we were cool back then. we did some pretty cool stuff.
You were rock stars back then.
We were rock stars. Oh my gosh, I'm just going to make sure that my battery, 22%. Ladies and gentlemen, I need a new phone. Please donate. So at some point, I may have to turn the phone over and plug it in.
Yeah, sure, don't worry. If you need to do so, don't worry. We're in confidence here. So,
take a pause. A pausa? Is that how you say it? A pausa?
Yes, una pausa. It's okay. So, after you retired, you started with your professional career, like you said, and you have had like the longest professional career ever. You started doing these Stars on Ice tours.
I think Torval and Dean are still doing shows.
So, oh yeah, you're right.
I think, and then the Protopopovs, the couple from Russia who skated until they were literally 80s or 90s. So God. I think I'm third. I think
you're third,
but I'm very proud.
Well, that's something.
And I'm very lucky.
I mean, it's been amazing. So how do you feel about being able to still do what you love? So you still inspire people. You do amazing programs in Stars on Ice and other shows everywhere. So what does that mean to you?
Just how lucky I am. Just how lucky that I've been surrounded by talented people that have helped carve my career. How lucky I am that my body has somehow stayed with me on this journey, that I haven't had an injury that's taken me off the ice or out of my ability to perform. Like Sandra Bezic choreographed that program, Mr. Bojangles, that you're looking at right now.
It's amazing.
And I don't know why I have been so lucky physically. And then lately I have to actually, I won't really get into it, but I've been working with a fitness program that I'm only just in the last few weeks starting to actually promote, and I bought into the company and I really believe in it because it's helped me get back on the ice. I actually didn't really perform for over a year, and I thought my career was over, and then I started doing this and the ice performing. So I've just been the luckiest darn guy ever. But I'm also so in love with skating that the drive has stayed alive as well. Yeah. So to have, and I think, you know what, I quit skating years ago if I hadn't discovered the hat.
I know. And why did you stop performing?
I stopped because I just thought that I was done. I thought that people were probably done with me. I had already done everything. I've been professional for decades already. And I just kind of felt it out. It's almost like I tried not skating to see how that felt.
Yeah.
And I actually got hurt playing hockey because I went back to playing hockey, like 10 o'clock at night playing hockey with some guys we're all out of shape and we're just playing hockey. And I got hurt. I got hurt really bad. Oof. And when that happened, Sandra Bezic came to me and said, Javier Fernandez is having a show in Spain and I'd like you to be a part of it. And I thought, oh, Javier and I are really good friends. And I love him so much. It would be cool to go to Spain and see him be the king. Like to be in Spain and to see Javier at center ice and have everyone love him, and I thought that, and to work with Sandra Bezic, every chance I get, I always take that. but I was injured. It was actually my neck and my
Oh,
shoulder and my upper back that was all messed up. And I tried a double sow cow, but my left arm wouldn't pull in. Like, so I was pretty messed
oh
up.
my God.
And this, this process that I fell into to rehabilitate my arm was called isofit. So it's spelled ISOPHIT, isofit. If
Uh-huh.
you want to check it out, go look it up on
I
Facebook.
will.
I won't talk about it. It kind of brought me back to skating.
Yep.
I went to Spain. I stumbled through my programs. I somehow got through it and I got to see Javi, but the taste of skating came back. And then my body came back through this workout. And I started skating again. And now I'm kind of like, don't know when I'm going to end. I don't know when I'm going to stop, but I feel quite good. And I might go to Japan in June if COVID lets us and perform shows in Japan. And Stars on Ice will come back on. And I'm only 2 years away from doing 30 years of Stars on Ice. So
Wow.
maybe I'll just hang in there for that. A lot of fun.
That's
I'm lucky,
amazing.
lucky guy.
Yes, you are very lucky. And what does your family say about you skating? Do they enjoy to go with you and watch you skating?
Eh, they've seen everything. I think that my sons are most interested in the backflip and asking me not to do it anymore.
Oh yeah, please
They've
don't.
decided that dad's too old and I shouldn't do backflip anymore. So the trouble is that I don't do it for a year, and then all of a sudden I just go to the rink and they have a show, and I'm like, okay, so I'll just do backflip. And they're getting very low and they're getting very slow. And I think probably my children are right. It's probably time not to do it anymore.
Yeah, I
And yet
think so.
somehow we'll see. Maybe I should stop before it stops me. But my kids, like I think it's the same way with most children. They just take their parents for granted. And my dad skates, and that's cool. Whatever.
Do they do sports?
My oldest son is more into acting,
Mm?
so I feel like dad's genes went that way with him. And the other boy, my second son, he loves being physical. So
Nice.
I just bought him a punching bag, and I had to tell him to stop so we could do the same. So he's down there punching. He loves being physical, and having COVID, there's no team sports, there's nothing,
Yeah,
and he's going crazy. He's going crazy. So he needs something. So I bought him a bag and go hit
something.
it.
Yeah. Okay, so you have also been working as a commentator, as a co-host in a Battle of the Blades, and you have been doing so much work on TV. How do you feel about being on the other side of figure skating, commentating, and you have to analyze all the skaters? How does it feel?
Well, it got easier because at the beginning I was analyzing my friends and my teammates.
Oh,
So at the very beginning when I started it, not only did I not have a lot of television experience behind me,
yeah,
but I was talking about the guys competing against months ago. And so it was hard to walk the line between talking about them from over here but not over here where I'm their friend.
yes,
It was awkward a little bit,
yeah,
but now it's much easier because I don't know the skaters as much, so I can be a little bit more like making comments on their skating. But also the world is bigger. The sport is
yeah,
bigger.
definitely.
Before we used, if you knew 10 skaters, you knew enough. But now there's 25 or 30 good skaters, and the person who was 12th last year could win.
Yep.
Like because the new system and there's so much talent spread out around the whole globe, which is the way
Mm,
it should be. But
yeah.
that sport has changed, and I think when you do something like Nathan and Yuzuru Hanyu are doing
Mhm.
now by
Yeah.
dominating,
Oh,
I,
they're
I
amazing.
mean dominating like Scott Hamilton and Kurt Browning,
Yeah.
that was a different era.
Yep.
Dominating then was like cool and impressive, but to dominate now, it's truly a feat, a
Yeah.
feat, a physical feat. And so, especially what Nathan Chen is doing, to have somebody like Yuzuru Hanyu in the universe, and then to have somebody actually eclipse him and beat
I know
him,
it's crazy. Next
crazy.
Olympics
It's
are going
crazy.
to be
Yeah.
so interesting, because after this year of people not being able to skate enough, but they are still on the game. I mean, I don't even know how they do it, but they still got it. You see them compete after so many months of lockdown and all, and they
Yep.
are like nothing happened. So next Olympics are going to be so interesting. We
I
have to be there.
completely agree with you, and I don't know because sometimes I get a phone call or a text or something from a sports writer, and they're like, "Who's the greatest skater of all time?" I have to write a little story, and I'm like, and I go, well,
Oh my God.
male, they always want to know skater,
Yeah.
right? So I'm thinking, good gosh, what Nathan Chen is doing right now is not realistic.
No, I
Like
agree.
to do 160 quads and to fall twice or something like that. Like it's just
I
not
know it's
realistic. And
crazy.
yet, yeah, the longevity and the star status of Yuzuru Hanyu, I mean, the longevity of him being at the top.
Yeah.
It's a fun question. It's a really fun question to be asked, and I think it's great that we have stars to look forward to. And then, of course, the ladies' event has completely reinvigorated itself and
I know.
reinvented itself. And now I don't know. I don't know. I watched the women's event, and I'm like, what did I just see? Like,
I know it's so crazy.
3-4 years ago. Yeah. So it's an exciting time, and I really hope the Olympics happen, and I really
Me
hope
too.
everyone's healthy, and I hope skating comes back.
I
Hope we come
hope
back.
so. Really, really hope so. So, talking about acting and choreography and all, you have always been like the actor on ice. So, you have been choreographing some programs for skaters. So, how is it to
Who,
you
me?
to be on this side of coaching and choreographing with elite skaters who are on the level that you were sometime? Uh, so, how is that for you? How does it feel?
It feels like you remember when you were a child and the eggs were hid for you by mom and dad, or they put up the Christmas tree, or like mom and dad do everything for
Yeah.
you, and then you get older and you're like, oh, I got early and I got to put cookies out for Santa Claus. It's a little bit like that. Like it's time for my generation to be the creators and the curators, which means taking care of the next generation.
Mhm.
And it's awesome. It's a really interesting responsibility,
Oh, yeah.
and one that I think that my generation has welcomed. Jeffrey
Mhm.
Buttle, Shaylin Bourne, have great skaters who have become amazing choreographers. And for me, I've decided to sort of specialize. So I wait for a skater to come to me
Mhm.
and saying, I want to do something risky, I want to do something fun, I want to do something funny, and I want to enjoy my skating. And so I feel like my job is to empower the skaters to remember at my seminars and when I work with the top skaters in the world to remember that they love skating
Yeah.
and to enjoy their talent and to share that with the audience.
Mhm.
So my core experiences have kind of zeroed in on the different program, like the fun program or the adventure program. Caitlin Osmond, Olympic bronze medalist, a world
Yeah.
champion from Canada. She just came to, and we did a great fun program. There's a bat, and there's like a jailbreak, and there's a costume change, and it's a lot of fun. And of course, COVID came, and nobody has seen it. So I'm looking forward to get back on the ice with her and bringing that one back to life. I don't think I answered your question. It feels good. It feels good to commentate skating. It feels good to choreograph skating. I have some potential choreography coming up in the future that I really hope works because I like doing group numbers and I like telling stories, and I'd like that to be a part of my life moving forward. But I don't really enjoy doing competitive choreography because I feel that you shouldn't take that responsibility on unless you're truly committed to the system, to
Yeah.
understanding the spins, and I have not done that homework. So I like to consult. I like
Yeah.
the program to exist and then to be consulted, to give an opinion, to add a flair, to help, to get speed, to get power, to get more out of their choreography. And I think that's my strength. So people, if you're out there, give me a call. I kind of
Yeah.
need the work.
Here's Kurt's social media, so call him. Yeah, I mean, we need more of that.
Well, well, yeah, I mean, you kind of don't know where the talent for creativity lies. I
Yeah.
mean, so many skaters, David Wilson was never really a successful competitor.
Mm-hmm.
Sandra Bezic, best skaters in the world, but she didn't get to see, her brother was injured and her career ended as a competitor. So sometimes it's not Olympic champions like Christopher Dean, who's an amazing choreographer.
Yeah.
And I got to work with him once in Stars and Ice and then alone as well. It's such a gift when you give somebody your talent and they
Yeah.
mold something new on you, and you go on the ice and you're like, now I have all this. When you see a skater, this is a terrible analogy, but I kind of tell skaters it's kind of like you're living in a house for
Uh-huh.
like years. And one day you discover behind the curtain a door, and you're like, oh, there's a swimming pool and a bowling alley right over here. Like, we just didn't know. And it's kind
Yeah.
of like living in this house and you didn't know it existed. And when you open up a skater to that, that's a good feeling. I like that feeling very much.
Yeah, actually, I think that not so many skaters feel comfortable acting on the ice. So sometimes you see beautiful programs with amazing choreographies, but you see that they lack these like emotions, and you do that. You have
Well,
that.
when when you trust the audience,
Mm-hmm.
you have a friend out there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us skaters know that a fall could happen at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of don't ourselves completely to the audience because this might go badly. Skating is really hard.
Oh, yeah.
Actors and singers are somewhat protected. Singers sing live, but the odds of them having a bad song are a lot lower than
Yes.
us having a bad skate. So when I talk to skaters, when I work with skaters, I usually try to figure out their relationship with their own skating.
Mm-hmm.
How do they see themselves as a skater? How do they approach performing? And when I start to understand that, then I know what to give them.
Yeah.
Because you can tell a giraffe to be shorter all day, and the giraffe is just probably not going to be able to do it for
Yeah.
you.
Totally.
So you really need to understand the person so that you know what to give them to help them get to the next level.
I get.
Like just the other day, I was really working with a skater, and we're working on knee bend, like literally knee bend. He loved to skate like this. This is his comfort place. And he never used his knees. And
Oh.
I said to him, I go, you're the best choreographers and coaches in the world. I think you've probably heard this before. And he goes, yeah. And I go, well, there's give you that they can't give you. So I said, what's going to happen differently here? I said, but so first I need to understand how you feel when they say that,
Mm-hmm.
because it's been a long time and I haven't seen you make the change. Do you want to? And he really did want to make the change. I said, okay, so that's hurdle number one. We're there. So I said, I'm warning you, there's nothing I can give you that they can't give you. You're the one that's going to have to change. So until you accept that responsibility, this could just be a useless dance. So I think that this is the best muscle
Yeah.
to approach first.
Yeah. I
He's going
agree.
to have to use legs to bend his knees, but if this muscle turns on, the legs are not going to do their job. And it's a wonderful moment when you feel that you're unlocking
Mm-hmm.
the puzzle and the skate opens up and becomes more friendly with their own skating, more at ease, more at home. That's a cool moment.
Well, that's amazing, and it's so beautiful. We need more people like you. So,
We really.
oh, we lost you.
I
Are you
turned my
plugging
camera
your phone?
sideways, plug it in. So let's see what that does. Okay, my phone is plugged in now. Am I in the screen?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, good. So this is technology hates me. So it's going very well.
Okay, Kurt. I want to ask you, what's next for you? What are you up to these days? I mean, besides COVID.
Right. Literally, I think I'm trying to make that decision. Do I kind of do I just pull back and say, COVID's been crazy. It's been a year. I haven't really been training. Do I let my professional career go and I start looking for other challenges, like more putting myself out there more as a
Yeah.
choreographer, more seminars, travel, or do I hang in there and try to recreate the wheel over and over again for another couple of years and see if I can get to that magic number of 30 for Stars on Ice? I haven't made that decision yet. And I think that I'll let my body and my heart decide that. So that's next. And being a dad is important and I want to do that, but I still need to kind of make that decision. Do I kind of go for it a little bit longer, or am I pushing my luck? And the world has seen enough of me out there in center ice, and maybe it's time to. It's been great. Goodbye. So I have that decision looming in front of me. But you know what? I've kind of had that decision looming in front of me for about 7 or 8 years already. So it's a little bit like someone once told me that a relationship is waking up in the morning and deciding to stay.
I
That's
really
what a
hope
relationship is.
I really hope you keep skating, because I don't think the world has enough, never will be having enough of Kurt Browning. So I really, really hope you keep skating.
There's such a thing as too much sugar in the cake. And I never dreamed of being 54 and still doing this, but I have to be honest. And if I feel that my skating isn't motivated by excitement and learning, then I know I'm done. Or
Yeah.
the body will tell me I'm done.
Yes, of
And
course.
and it will go, or the phone will stop ringing or something. So we'll see. So if you see me, then you know which way I went. If you don't see me, then you'll know which way I went.
I will be crossing my fingers.
You're very, very kind, and I appreciate the motivation. Thank you.
So, Kurt, we have some comments and questions from the audience. First, we have Joandri from Chile. He says, Hi. Hi from Santiago de Chile. Hugs for the two of us. So, gracias,
Nice.
Joandri. Gracias, muchas gracias, como siempre, amigo, por tus comentarios. We have one question
Siempre,
here. So, someone is
forever
asking,
friend.
what?
Forever friend. Siempre amigo.
Oh, yeah. So, someone is asking, who's your favorite skater?
There's a long line of skaters. I kind of keep playing around with who would be my top 3 skaters, and I guess that choice of who it would be influenced by what I like, but also what I think longevity and creativity and the way they treat the sport. I mean, I think a lot goes into my decision. And I know that Shaylin Bourne and Christopher Dean will always be very, very high on my list of amazing skaters. To choose somebody from the modern world, I have to say that Jason Brown is somebody that I could never be. So when I watch, especially in person on practice, no costume, no audience, I kind of feel like I've never skated before when I'm on the ice with this guy. Patrick Chan did that to me too.
Oh, yeah.
But I've been around him so much that I'm kind of used to it. But I mean, I'm used to like step, and Patrick's at the other end, and I go, what? Like, we're supposed to match, like, don't leave me. But he's one of the best ever. But with Jason Brown, he has a flair and an extension and a balletic quality that my skating will never ever have. I could take a year and just train it, and I'll look ridiculous. And so he creates flow and passion, and he's fast going up into one of my favorite skaters in the world. And it's too bad that we don't see him on more podiums, because the quads have not come to him as easily as other skaters. But he's tops in my book, and just a dear, lovely person as well. So I think he treats the sport with respect. He treats people with respect, and giving him a moment right now. Jason Brown, you're amazing.
And he enchants the audience. I mean, it's like he makes something on the ice so magical that people just adore him.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. He's humble.
yeah.
It's just really, it's Getting to work with Christopher Dean in person on one of my programs, it was called Ain't No Sunshine. Ain't no sunshine when she called, like that song.
Yeah.
So he choreographed it for me. And he's such a gentle person, Chris. Chris with your accent, like oh, Kurt, could you come over here and do this? And then he grabs you and he's like strong like a wrestler, like a fighter, like and he goes, come over here, Chris. And he's such a dichotomy of personality. Physically, on the ice, he is like a beast. And his personality is so gentle, so soft. But the stuff he had me doing, and he made it look so easy. Like, he wanted me to skate really fast backwards and then flip the other direction and stop on both my toe picks and hold this position. And he would just like, and then just hold it. And like, it was like somebody had just taken a of him and he would freeze and stop. And then he would go and do it again and he would freeze up. And I would stop and then fall over. And I'm like, how are you doing this? You're like defying magic, And then Shaylin Bourne, I always use her in seminars because I love the way that she explores skating. So she'll get on the ice by herself with her music in her ears, and she will take the same step and do it for 5 minutes straight. And I love, through repetition, she grows and she learns, but also she has subtle changes in the step. And I think that that's something that I would have my students, if I had students, do. I would take one step and I would, just explore it. And then through that one step, you become a better skater, and that growth spills out to all your other steps.
Wow,
so instead of taking the whole 3.5 program.
Wow.
Sorry?
That's amazing.
Wow. Oh, you take 4 counts of 8 or 1 count of 8 of your program. Just analyze it until it is everything you want it to be, and then go to the next count of 8. And I think that the skaters are usually just trying to train the whole thing with 4 quads and a triple axel and and a backflip with your finger like this. There's so much to do. Sometimes taking a little part of it and just appreciating the quality of the edge and make it perfect until you own it. But that takes time. But that's where somebody like me could come in and make it a priority, and then leave. Like a grandparent. I come in, I give them, I leave.
Well, that's good. That's good. Why didn't we have you here in Mexico?
Say it again?
Why didn't we have you here in Mexico?
Not invited, I don't know. My son was commercial in Mexico, so we went down to Mexico City and shot a commercial there. That was kind of fun. But skating, I know Elvis Stoico, of course, has been skating in Mexico for years.
Yeah.
He lived there, and met his future wife there, and of course,
his wife is one of my friends from here.
Gladys, awesome.
Yeah.
So, but skating in Mexico has not happened yet. So maybe.
You never know. You should come here and teach us something useful.
Right. Salta, más alto. I'll work on my Spanish.
Please do it. And we have one last question. Someone is asking, what's your favorite program ever? One of your programs.
So this is a question, and thank you for the question. This is something that's asked of me often, and I admit lately I've just been admitting that I choose a different program all the time. I answer it depending on my mood, because I don't have a real favorite program. I kind of have my tops. Singing in the Rain and my Clown Number and Brick House are probably my favorite ones.
Yeah.
Because of the success of the program and the way I felt, the costume, the things that happened to me during that time of my life, all sorts of fun programs. But like Crash Into Me by Dave Matthews is a very important program to me for different reasons. I did a number where I had only hat tricks. I can't get. It's kind of like children. You're not supposed to choose one favorite, right? You're supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard.
Okay?
It's
hard.
You have had so many programs. I mean, from the competition programs, I think my favorite is Casablanca, maybe. but the show programs, I think Singing on the Rain, because what it means to me.
Yeah, there is a beautiful moment by Gene Kelly and the creators of that movie
Yeah.
that some transferred to skating very, very well. And in that TV special that you mentioned,
Yeah.
we made rain, and Sandra Bezic brought it to life. I'll tell you the story behind it. I lived out west in Canada, and I got on a plane as a young flew to the big city of Toronto. And in Toronto, I had a meeting, and at that meeting was about 10 people around this big table. And at the end of the table was a man with a big mustache and a cowboy hat. And I looked at him and I thought, this Toronto guy is putting on a cowboy hat because he thinks that's going to make me like him. And I was like looking at him, and little did I know that he would become one of my best friends and the godfather of my firstborn son. Like but at that moment I was like, I don't trust this guy. And so we had a meeting, and they talked about lights, and they talked about money, and they talked about time, and who's going to choreograph what, and when we're going to have it, and what arena, and a lot of things happened. I didn't really participate much. I'm just the star of the show. So at the very end, when everybody is getting up, John, at the end of the table, he looked at me and goes, one more question. And he said, if you could do anything on the ice ever, but it's impossible, what would it be? And everyone who was leaving froze. So they're half standing up and they're picking up their books, and everyone froze. And then, because the boss spoke, and then they all stared at me. And so I was standing, and I remember I went, and all of a sudden I pictured me sitting in the living room with my mom watching Singing in the Rain on TV. I don't know why, but that's where my head went. Sitting with my mom watching Gene Kelly doing Singing in the Rain. I had never until that moment thought of skating Singing in the Rain. It just came into my future bold head. And I looked at him and I said, well, it would be fun to skate Singing in the Rain, but how are you going to skate in the rain, right? That would be impossible. And he goes, And then everyone left. And he told me years later that he grabbed his assistant, and he grabbed him and he said, make it rain.
Oh my God.
And rain happened. So
Oh
that was
my
it. And then
God.
Sandra Bezic.
It is so exciting to hear about this story. Like I said, like I told you before, I watched so many times that TV special. Uh, it was like so beautiful. Even when I'm a coach also here in Mexico, and I wanted one of my students to skate to that program. It was like a show competition, and I wanted her to do like what you did. Of course, it was impossible. We couldn't do it. I was just like so angry because it's one of my favorite programs ever. And it's so special to hear the story behind it.
The feeling I got, and hopefully I'll perform it again someday, but the feeling I get before the music starts of the idea that you just fell in love. That's what's happening. And he doesn't care that it's raining because he just fell in love. And to get that feeling every night and then skate with that feeling is really freaking cool. And then the umbrella is fun to play with, of course. It's awful to jump with, but it's really fun to play with. I'll tell you one more story. There was 3.5 weeks of filming for that TV special, 18-hour days. I was sleeping at the rink. They made one of the rooms my bedroom, so there was a cot, and I didn't even go home. I just stayed at the rink 24 hours a day, basically. And to get as much sleep as possible, when I finished, I just went to my dressing room, turned out the light, fell asleep. And then my sister, whom I had hired to be sort of my assistant, so my sister was in charge of like, wake up, they need you on set. Like she was in charge of doing all that stuff. And anyways, I put the rain outfit that Dennis Pizzicato had made, an exact replica of what Gene Kelly wore. And I was so excited and nervous. But I knew that my skates were going to get wrecked by all the water. They had big trucks, water trucks outside, and the water trucks pumped the water through hoses that got smaller and smaller and smaller until they went to 6 or 7 towers over the water. And when they went like this, they went and they sprayed water out over the ice that
Wow.
fell looking. So if you look at it, you can see that the rain is coming from each side like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So it's not really perfect, but it was kind of, and the water was warm because it was summer and the trucks were outside in the sun. So it was very nice that the water was warm. Anyways, I went to put my skates on. Sorry, how much? Do you have 3 hours? Anyways, I put my skates on, and then I thought they're going to get wrecked because of the water. Then I saw a pair of skates that I had given my sister from like 3 years earlier. And I gave them to her, and they're hers, and she wears them on outdoor rinks, and she hangs out with skates that had won worlds. Good for her. And I looked, I thought, well, maybe I could start filming in those,
Uh-huh.
and I won't be in the water long in these, and I won't wreck. So I just took my skates off and I put the old ones on, which felt really weird. Anybody who's
Yeah.
a skater knows that putting your own old skates on
Oh no,
is
that's
like
not
alien.
comfortable. Yeah.
I never took them off that day. There was some weird magic in those skates. So that Singing
Wow.
in the Rain was in the skates that I had given up as old and abandoned and gave to my sister 3 years earlier. And I threw them on. The triple loop wasn't supposed to be a triple, it was supposed to be a double, but I went in the air and I went, feels good. So I just stayed there
Oh
and did the
my God.
triple. Like that whole day was magical, absolutely magical. And so I kept in her skates. And then, and at the end, I'm like, I need these skates back. And she goes, I don't think so. And she took them, and she still,
Wow, that is
so
so
she has,
special.
and the actual Singing in the Rain skates.
Thank you for
Pretty
sharing that
cool.
story. You have no idea of how happy I feel right now to hear all of this.
Well, it's interesting to be asked questions by somebody who cares, because it's kind of like joke telling. If someone says, "Tell me a joke," and you, I can't think of a joke, but
Yeah.
if they tell a joke and then it reminds, and then you can tell a joke, and so it's fun to feel your energy and obvious interest, and it's inspired me to tell you stories that I don't usually tell.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy. And people
I
has
will
been
trade you.
crazy. Yeah.
I will trade you all those stories for one quick story about your favorite medal behind you on the wall.
Oh, I have a good story. Let me find it. I think it's no, it's not this one. Oh, it's this one.
You could lie and we wouldn't know.
No, people who know me know I'm telling the truth. This medal was from a national championship. It was my second national championships in Mexico. But a couple of months before the nationals, I broke a bone in my hip. I fell on a salcow, on a double salcow, but my feet never touched the ice. So basically, from the ice, just my hip, and I broke a bone in the how do you call this bone in the femur, like the head, so like a
Yeah.
little piece just uh, broke, but I didn't know. I just had pain and kept training. And like 2 weeks later, I was in so much pain that my mom took me to the doctor. I was maybe like 15 years old. And the doctor said that I had a broken bone and I couldn't skate. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry, doctor, but I have to skate because I have nationals in 2 weeks. And so he said, okay, let's do something. If you want to compete, the only way to do it is you have to stop skating for these 2 weeks and then go right to the nationals. You can't jump. Of course, you have to rest these weeks. And when you get to nationals in your practice, you can do like a run through of your program without jumps, and then in the warm up, maybe you can try 1 or 2 jumps and see how you feel, and then you can compete. I know, it's crazy. I mean, whoever is a skater knows that you just can't like stop skating and then just go to competition. So I was
But there's no skater that I know that like 5 days before nationals wouldn't be like you.
no, of course not. It's really
But you
crazy.
didn't?
So I went to nationals and I didn't want anyone to know that I was injured because I won the previous nationals. I had the title.
Yeah.
So I was, like walking like this, and I was like, oh, I'm perfect. And there was a girl who wanted to win because I don't know, she hated me or something, and she just comes to me and tell me, "Oh, so you are the national champion, and you feel really important." And I was like, "Yeah, because I'm important. I'm I'm a national champion, so don't bother me." So inside, I was so frightened. I was really, really scared. So I went to my practice, did my run through, and it hurt so bad. I couldn't even do my spins. Even doing a back camel was like really painful. So I was praying the night before. I remember that I was with my mom, like meditating, praying, doing whatever was necessary to be, like strong, mentally strong. So
And you put on your
oh yeah, I put on my mask. That's my thing. Putting on a mask always. So on the day of the competition, I come to the ice. I do my warm up, and I was literally crying on the warm up, like tears running through my face because it hurt so bad. But I was like, okay, I have to win this. I mean, I must have my national title again, and it doesn't matter if it hurts so bad.
I know that.
Yeah,
I
you
want that
know
title
what
back.
it means.
I don't want to feel
Yeah, so you are there, and like the adrenaline rush or something, I don't know. Uh, in the moment, I did all my jumps, all my spins. I remember that, especially the back spin, I don't know why, was so painful because it was in that leg. So, and also the landing of the jumps because it was my right
sure.
leg. So I just,
So you're in the air, it's gonna
yeah,
hurt.
yeah. I was
Yeah.
like thinking, I have to hold this. I have to hold my rotations. I have to hold the landing. So I did a clean program, and I won the nationals, and we were maybe 20 competitors. So this one is like the most special because it was so hard to win. It was really tough,
Yeah.
but it was like a team effort with my mom, my dad, my brother, my coach. Everybody supported me. They were the only people who knew. So it means a lot to me.
The, I'll make it really short. The best medal that my mom ever thought I won was second at the Worlds when Victor Petrenko won. And it was after the Olympics when my back was sore with the 2 slip discs, and the Olympics didn't go well for me at all. But only 5 or 6 weeks later, or whatever, was the World Championships, and I had able to train a little bit, and I came second. And that silver medal, my mom always told me, was her favorite because nobody knows what I went through to get back to have that medal.
I
And
get,
it's not always the shine of the medal; it's the work behind it.
yeah, totally agree.
Or like, whatever it might be.
I know, I
It's a
get
good
it.
story.
Thank you so much for asking. This has been
Very cool.
so much fun. You're amazing. I mean, when I used to watch you on TV, I always thought you were like a great guy. But now, talking to you, I know you're a great guy. You're amazing.
Amazing actor.
Yeah, that too.
Um, no, I've been looking forward to this interview, and it's, to be honest, it was a opportunity to comb my hair and get dressed up, and I was shoveling snow outside, and I came online and I thought,
Yeah,
oh my gosh, I'm late. I'm so sorry.
you were a
I
half
didn't
hour
know how,
early.
but I was a half hour early. That kind of sums me up. Thinking I'm late, but I'm a half hour early. When I think I'm on time, I'm a half hour late. So lucky that I got on the right side of the amount.
Oh, yeah.
But thank you very much for as a younger person watching my skating and being inspired by it. That means a lot to me. And this interview has always has given me a chance to kind of go back in time a little bit,
Oh, yeah.
but maybe also pay some tribute to some other skaters and maybe motivate some young ones out there. And if I had any words, it would be something along the lines of that I've already said, is to appreciate your own skating.
Yeah.
And I think that so many times in a sport that's so hard because it involves so many aspects of personality. You have to be physical, you have to have balance, but you also have to know musicality, and you have to know choreography and performance and acting. Our sport is so multifaceted
Yeah.
that it demands so much from us that most of us fail. I
Yeah.
mean, at some point. especially the falls. The falls are so demeaning. Pop, miss, step up, fall. It happens a lot. And so my seminars and when I talk to children, I try to remind them how good they are. And the joke is, I said, if it was easy, it'd be called hockey. But
Yeah,
that's just the joke.
I agree totally.
But I want, like, if any of the young kids are watching, please, at whatever level you're at, enjoy your skating. Enjoy the glide, enjoy the run and the knee bend and the swing of the free leg and that jump you do land and just enjoy the music and choose music that you like and choose moves that you like and make it yours. And I think that the coaches and the choreographers can come in and push things on you, but also there should be moments in your program that you made that decision. And so that's my advice to kids. Appreciate your skating at every level and enjoy it and be proud of yourself. And it's okay to be proud of whatever level you're at.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
make your program yours. Decorate your own room in your house. Do the same thing with your skating. So that's my little speech.
That's amazing advice. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing all these stories with us. And like you said, we were like going back on time, and it was amazing to remember all these moments for the past, I don't know how many years, some years, a few years. But thank you so much, and thanks everybody for joining us, for being here and chatting so much.
Thank you, everybody. And thank you to my dog for not barking this whole time. Thank you. Okay.
And guys, please remember to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done it. Here are my social media. Please follow me to see what else I have to offer. So many, right here. More interviews on these days. And here's Kurt's social media. Also follow him because he has amazing content.
I don't put anything out there. I'm quite content to not take a picture of the plate of food that I'm eating and show it.
That's good.
I'm kind of like, I have moments where I do stuff, and then sometimes I'll retweet a bunch of things and I'll go, whew, I'm exhausted, and then I don't see Twitter for about 3 weeks. But I'm really like being with people, and so COVID has been hard that way.
Oh yeah.
But online, I should do more online. But
yes, you should.
hey, I'm old.
You're not old. You're young.
Well, I have some approach to try to create more content, and I'm like, well, maybe we'll see.
Well, you just make us happy if you upload figure skating videos. So
the lady that Tina Tyan, who has something called Kurt Files, which is a website.
Yeah.
Kurt Files, and she decided at the beginning of COVID to keep putting Kurt content out every day, I think. And through that, I mean, who knew that it was going to last a year? Through that, she has explored deep into places that we don't usually get to see. And I have clicked the link and watched myself do things that I didn't even remember that I had done.
That's amazing.
It's been kind of.
Well, please tell her.
So anyways, I'll let you go.
Yeah, she has to keep doing that.
She's pretty cool. Tina Tyan, and it's called Kurt Files, so you can check it out. But I want to thank you. Really fun interview. Congratulations on your medal, and I hope your hip isn't hurting still.
No.
And hola, my siempre amigos in Mexico, and I hope that everybody who can get skates on and go skating safely and have fun. And remember to just cherish the glide and cherish the skating and just the chance. And some rare, weird, strange things in the universe have made some of us champions, but it doesn't mean that the feeling changes. It's still just skating for all of us. So thank you very much for this long, fantastic, and fun chat.
Thank you, Kurt.
I appreciated it very much.
I hope I'll see you sometime soon.
That would be great. That would be cool. Even in person. All right, time to feed the dog.
Great. Thanks, Kurt. Bye-bye. Gracias a todos. Bye.